I have this, I don't know, maybe at some point I should have become a percussionist or a drummer or something, and I didn't because I felt like there were going to be too many people in 6th grade that were like, it's like, oh, everyone wants to hit stuff.
There ended up being a ton when I tried out.
Yeah, and so, like, my first choice was percussion, my second was trumpet, but I didn't feel like my mouth could fit in that thing, and so I went with trombone. But, like, I still feel like I have the mentality of a percussionist that never got to be a percussionist, because I like wearing a ring all the time because I can hit stuff and figure out like what it sounds like. And that's just a ton of fun. And I think one time I was with my girlfriend at Walmart, and there was like a pipe just in the middle or whatever, or it was like a metal pillar in the middle of Walmart, and I hit it with my ring, and the ding was almost exactly the starting sound in Packed Like Sardines and Crushed in Cans by Radiohead.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I fucking love
Amnesiac.
Yeah, Amnesiac, the one that has a book. Oh, I love that song. Yeah.
But like, so like I hit the
What
thing.
is that noise? It's like
I don't. Yeah.
I can't even fucking.
So some of the noises that they make in that stuff is excellent. But like, I hit the thing and I was like, what? And I kept like hitting it, and I'm like, man, this is excellent. But that's why I like having a field recorder all the time. It's just like, I'm gonna sample that mess. I don't know what that is, but I need that. Radiohead's my favorite band. You know that?
That's fucking awesome, because like every other ACM kid I talk about Radiohead to, I don't really like Radiohead. And I'm like, well, you fucking should. Like, that should be required listening for people in music school.
Oh, yeah. No, I think that, I know you like posted your 100 like favorite albums or whatever, and I keep, like, every day that I go to ACM, I just keep thinking like, man, I have such like a tiny range of music that I listen to. It's stupid. I haven't listened to anything for some reason. And one, I don't really have time, and two, I just listen to podcasts, and so that really takes up all of my listening time instead of listening to music.
I think I'm the opposite. I fucking listen to everything, and not like your average white girl who you ask what music do they like. Everything, like everything in the world, everything for me.
Yeah, and that's. I wish I did listen to everything. I mean, that's what like Spotify's for, but I don't want to pay for that mess.
I don't pay for Spotify. I use that shit with ad block in my browser.
There you go. But I mean, or like YouTube or whatever. So it's still streaming quality, so whatever.
Radiohead's actually my brother's favorite band too. To quote him before, so what is it? Moonshaped Pool, the new album.
Yeah.
Quote what he said when it was leading up to that coming out, and we were really excited. He goes, I don't even care what they release. Tom York could fart into a mic and I'd still buy it.
Yep. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Shit I'd ever heard.
Because whenever I listened to Moonshaped Pool, I was like, this is brilliant. This is like brilliant.
Oh,
everything Radiohead makes is brilliant. But then I was like, am I just so biased that literally that, like, Tom York could just fart into a mic and I'd be like, this is brilliant?
Honestly, I was kind of upset they didn't keep going the direction they were heading with, that's an album. I mentioned...
King of Limbs?
Yeah, I mentioned Velocity is Uncumbered before, saying that was like an example of how to combine electronics and conventional instrumentation. The King of Limbs is the closest we've ever gotten. I think that album is the sound of the future, and I wish they would have kept going with that, but they grounded it back to the In Rainbow sound.
Yeah, and I mean...
Burn the Witch is fucking a masterpiece, though. That's a great-ass song.
But at the same time, I feel that Burn the Witch is like... There's a Radiohead formula.
Yeah. Tom whines over a weird track with strings.
Sure, exactly. So it's like, the Radiohead formula is like, Tom writes a like tone poem. Like, it's just general phrases about a thing.
And the rest of them
and then they make some music that's awesome for it, and he just like sings in falsetto for a lot of it. It's
awesome.
That's
though.
Radiohead.
It works. I don't think anyone else could do that, to be honest.
Yeah. But Burn the Witch is Radiohead formula if you put Salem Witch Trials in the formula.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
And so
they were looking for Tom York.
But I mean, yeah, I feel that In Rainbows is probably one of the best albums ever made.
To me, Kid A is their magnum opus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get people who think OK Computer is like those are the kind of people.
I don't understand
those
that
are
either.
the people who are stuck in rock and can't move past rock. Because
Mm-hmm.
Kid A is when they started moving in and they're like, fuck it, we're making music. We're no longer making like alt rock.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I find it strange that like Kid A and Amnesiac were the same album.
Sessions, yeah.
Like, so I mean, not the same album, but
They recorded the exact same
exactly.
time.
So I mean, I feel like
That's
you
why
can't
there's-
say Kid A without also saying Amnesiac.
You can though. Amnesiac's just the B-sides to Kid A.
But it's so
It's good, but it's the B-side. Like, I'm sorry, but it is.
Yeah.
Like, I love Amnesiac, but it is the B-sides. I think Morning Bell and Kid A is better than Amnesiac, Morning Bell.
Mm.
There are songs on Amnesiac that are better than songs on Kid A, like Packed in a Box and Pyramid Song are better than like fucking. There's a couple of songs in Kid A, like.
Well, the song Kid A itself is just like
It's kind of boring.
It's
Kind of
awesome,
boring.
but you have to take yourself to that level of like, oh, this is like artsy music or whatever.
Yeah,
you know,
but,
not
but
actually.
the problem is they begin the album with everything in its right place, which is a damn masterpiece.
Yeah.
I love that. National Anthem, I think, is the most underrated song on the album. How to Disappear Completely is just depressing.
How to Disappear Completely
I
is
can't
one of
listen
the
to
most
that.
beautiful
I
songs
can't listen to
that has ever been
It
made.
makes me bawl like a fucking baby. And you can barely understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
But that's how much emotion is conveyed in that song.
I feel that way about True Love Waits. True Love Waits, for a while there, I couldn't listen to that song without crying.
What? Great Gig in the Sky used to do that to me. Because I read about, like, they just shoved this woman into the box at the studio and they're like, think about death and war. And just, like, no words, just start screaming. And, like, that song is hard. If you, like, think about, like, what could have gone through her head to make her sing like that.
Yeah, and see, my range in music is like awful, and I'm like, Great Gig in the Sky. I'm sure I've heard it, but I can't
Dark Side
remember
Moon.
it. Well, I know, but
okay.
I have not listened to everything in the same depth that I have freaking Tell All Your Friends by Taking Back Sunday. Like, because whenever I'm a teenager, I listen to Taking Back Sunday nonstop and like Death Cab for Cutie, but you know, nobody stopped to tell me like, hey, look, here's Real Art with Pink Floyd. Like, and so I haven't listened to.
I feel like Pink Floyd's just entry. It's like, that's how you transition people to start listening to more in-depth music. Don't get me wrong, I love Pink Floyd. I think they're one of the most important bands of all time, but I also think they're very entry level as far as art music goes.
Sure. But I mean, because that's what happened. I went from going like, oh, Taking Back Sunday is excellent, and then like a friend introduced me to Radiohead, and I'm like, nothing compares to this.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still haven't taken the time to go and listen to everything else, and I should, but I wouldn't be able to do that without rampant piracy.
Yeah. Or Spotify.
Or Spotify.
Spotify has curbed, I think, everyone's piracy at this point. Like, people just do it much less. You know, for all the art music I love, there are a couple bands that I always have to stop and give a shout out to. Like, I love Beach House. Like, I love Beach House. Oh my God, have you ever listened to them?
No.
It's a dream pop duo, and it's a man and a woman. The man is Alex Scally. I don't know how to pronounce it. And he's the guitarist, and like he definitely has as their music. You could almost call it bland, but it's not. It's. I think it's the furthest anyone's ever gotten to making music just be dreamy stuff you don't think about. And he's very unique in that. Like, he sounds like he's not doing much, but that's the point. And then the vocalist, oh my God, Victoria Legrand, she probably has the greatest voice of all time. Like, I love her voice. If I could ever meet her one day, I don't know what I'd do. Like, I talk to famous people all the time, you know, on Twitter, or I become friends with people that are relatively famous. Like, I'm good friends with the drummer of Preoccupations. They're formerly known as Viet Cong, and he was in a band called Women before that. And like, I just don't get nervous when I'm talking on social media or I'm talking to him, like, you know, famous people. Damn, if I met Victoria Legrand, I wouldn't know what to say, just because like her voice just blows me away.
Yeah.
She's not real. I think she's an angel. I'm pretty sure.
I think another reason as to why I haven't listened to a whole wider range of things is because I get really obsessive about very specific stuff. So like,
I've been on a South American kick these past couple of months. So I know how you feel.
Yeah, but like, especially when you do have to pirate stuff, back with like LimeWire and stuff, like, you have to figure out if that was the right song, or else, you know, you just get like
viruses.
Well, viruses are just like the wrong song.
Yeah, random bullshit.
Yeah, so
Woohoo song, Blur 2.
Exactly. And so what I would end up doing is looking up the album on Wikipedia, looking at the track times, and trying to match as close as possible. But while looking up the track times, I would read the rest of the thing, and I'd be like, oh, did you know that they did this whole thing for this album? And so, like, I get really obsessive about the stuff rather than listening to more things. I just listen to that very specific thing a whole lot.
For me, it's like I'm constantly listening to something new at every moment, and then when the rare moment I find something new that's amazing, then I'm hooked on it for like a week.
Sure.
A week straight. I mean, like, nonstop, but like in between those periods, it's just nonstop going through stuff like paper, you know?
Yeah. I mean, is there a level of listening that you can have whenever you are going through stuff just nonsensically?
I would say, you know, within the first 20 seconds of the first song.
Sure.
Like, you know. I'll give stuff a couple of songs, and if I'm passively listening to it, I move on.
Yeah.
Two things I notice that will hook me is if I instantly hear something that blows me away, of course, and then I'll be hooked on that. Or if I hear something that I'm not passively listening to, but I don't like it, because then I know that I'm going to come back to it and hear something. And I end up going back to a lot of music like that where I didn't like it before, but I heard something, and I go back, and it ends up becoming one of my favorites because, like, I noticed something about it.
Yeah. I mean, how do you tell whenever something's bad? Do you just, like, not notice it at all, or do you go, like, this is bad?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's passive.
Yeah.
When it's just playing while I'm doing something, it's not engaging me at all. It's not that it's bad. It's just not interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like, I can usually if I look at my top 10, everything hooked me within like the first 20 seconds of the first song. I would say, except for one of them, which I had to get to the second song because the first song was like a minute long.
Because, I mean, I don't know, there's just too much music, and it's already, like, curated by people, and so why should I spend time?
Oh, yeah, well, I do. When I'm looking for stuff, I do end up looking at, say, like, Rate Your Music to... And it's not that I'll, like, read what people are saying or look at the ratings, but I do want to see a general list of, like, the top the top selection from what I'm looking for in specific, so like genres or places.
Yeah.
Like I ended up finding the latest addition to my top 10 is this album called Transa by Caetano Veloso, and I found it just by looking for Brazilian music.
Yeah.
On radio music, and it wasn't that like it was the top one. I was just going through different albums from Brazil.
Yeah.
And like it blew me away.
How do you listen to music differently if it's in a different language? Like, is it the same?
I feel like music itself doesn't need a language. You can definitely feel what they're trying to say. It doesn't matter what language it's in, to me personally.
Yeah.
And then it's not just a language thing, it's a culture thing. Like, you can hear different cultures and different styles of music, and I love hearing different traditional cultures pop out in different countries.
Yeah.
Like, how do I say it? I listen to a lot of Japanese music, and I'm not talking about, like, fucking J-pop and anime music, but, like, stuff that's just from Japan. Just because, like, they have a really weird way of writing melodies that I really like.
Sure.
I don't pay attention that it's in Japanese. It just, the singing sounds good, the melody's good, the voice is good.
Yeah.
Stuff in Portuguese, you know, fuck it. His voice is really good. Stuff in Spanish, his voice is good, man. Like, I know what they're doing, I can hear it. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah.
I feel like when I have to, if there's music that I have to put myself in a different mindset to listen to, it's when you start getting into, like, true art music and avant-garde and stuff like that, and that's the stuff where you have to take a step back and put yourself in a different pair of shoes. Like, one of my favorite albums is called Faust. It's technically a krautrock album, but it's like avant-garde, really, really avant-garde. And I remember the first few times I listened to it, I'm like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Like, what is this? But yet I found myself going back to it over and over until this last year. I go back to it one day, and all of a sudden I'm like, this is fucking awesome. And, you know, that's the kind of stuff where you have to keep. I feel like there are albums that deserve people having to listen to them over and over again until it clicks.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard to get to that level of, like, art and take it seriously, especially, like, I mean, because to one extent, John Cage's 433 is nonsense. Yeah. You know, but to another extent, like, it completely
thought about that.
It completely questions all premises of music in general, and, like, that's genius in and of itself. But, like, I mean, I wouldn't listen to it.
Yeah, there's definitely a line you have to draw on what you consider pleasing and artsy at the same time. Is it how there's a balance of artisticness and sonically pleasing that people have to find. Yeah. And although that, you know, my gauge of what's sonically pleasing is way further than most people, because I'll listen to shit with, like, loud, chirping, harsh noise bits, and I'll just be perfectly fine, and they'll be screaming if I'm playing it. You know what I mean? But I do feel everyone does have a gauge that they have to find in balance.
Yeah, because this happened in Music Theory 4 when I was taking that here. And in Theory 4, we went into, like, the chromatic clock. So if you look at a clock, it has, like, 12 all the way around. But the 12 turns to 0, and there's 12 tones in music. Okay. And so what these, like, 20th century composers were doing was going systematically atonal. Yeah. And so with the
you're talking about,
like 12-tone music,
serialism, yeah.
Yeah. And so
I've never understood serialism at all.
And that's the point. So, like, it's deliberately atonal. Yeah. That no tone happens more often than another. And
I think that's awesome, but it's beyond me. It's like one of the times I step back and go, this is beyond my comprehension.
Well, the difference is that, like, I get it. I understand what they're doing. I think it's cool. They take the sequence of numbers.
I do and I don't.
And they invert it and they reverse it and they do like a whole bunch of different stuff.
And then you get to like Stockhausen stuff, and they're fucking like playing it in different speakers, pointed in different areas, and like that shit gets weird.
Yeah, but at the same time, like it sounds awful. It just does. Like it's genius, but it sounds awful.
Is it okay if I play something?
I guess.
Because this is related. It's not serialism, but it's related to the balance of does it sound good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's only like 30 seconds before you can get flagged for copyright, so I think that's
okay. Well, I don't think they'll recognize this as music. So I'm dead serious. Okay, there's this album called Machine Gun by this Peter Brotzman octet, and I'm gonna let the ad play. It's free jazz, and that's my only warning. It's European free jazz. And the first time I heard it, I thought it was the loudest, most unpleasing thing I ever heard in my life. But the more I listen to it, the more I go, well, shit, this is like fucking genius, because I know what they're imitating. Like it's called Machine Gun. They're imitating a gun.
Yeah.
And like for a brief moment it's like 17 minutes. The song.
Jeez.
At the brief end, they go into like structured music for like a couple measures, and then they go back to the craziness.
Whoa.
So it's like a payoff.
Yeah.
And so like this definitely directly relates to what you're saying about it sounds terrible, but you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me what you think about it. Are you ready?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that sound like? A bunch of ducks being like lined up and shot, right?
Yeah, sure.
But I'm like, that's something you feel like you wouldn't want to sit down and listen to. But I love listening to shit like that at this point.
Yeah.
As much as I love listening to George Ben fucking sing the melody to "Do You Think I'm Sexy" by Rod Stewart, which he stole, by the way.
But I don't know, because there is a level of like genuine genius, like.
And then you think there's a level of people just kind of stumbled into it?
No, not stumbling into it, but like just kind of doing something and then being like, see how brilliant this is?
Yeah.
So like,
I
you know how like Museum of Modern Art, like the canvas with the dot in the middle or whatever, and have you heard of that? I mean, you can look at museums of modern art in general and just like...
I mean, I appreciate that kind of visual art.
I appreciate that kind of stuff
like,
too.
I fucking love Andy Warhol.
But most people just kind of look at it and like,
that's stupid. That's an edgy art person trying to be edgy. Well, no. Like,
so
they're not being edgy. That's the point. Like,
there's this one piece, and I always love bringing it up because it's hilarious. It's like this big white canvas, and it has like one black dot in the middle of it. And underneath, is the plaque that says the title or whatever, and it says, "Yeah, but you didn't."
What?
Because anytime anyone walks up to it, they'll go, "I could have made that." Yeah, but you didn't.
Yeah. Okay. I guess the music equivalent of that is I always think about like a lot of avant-garde composers of the 19th century. They were the 20th. They were lucky to live in that period where you could literally like fucking drop a brick on someone's toe, record them scream, and call it an avant-garde piece.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that anymore.
Well, yeah, but at what level is that just fake avant-garde, or is
that's
it just
my point. Like, there's a lot of people who are lucky to live then that they are regarded as genius now, because if you try doing that shit now, people are like...
Because Yoko Ono records a toilet and is like, "Hey, look, art."
I hate Yoko Ono. As much as I hate John Lennon. Both of them suck.
But I mean, how much of that is, hey, look, art, and how much of it is just, we're just trying to make something that is avant-garde on purpose?
I think you can tell. I don't know if like everyone should be generalized under the how much is everyone doing this, but I think you can fucking tell. Like, surely everyone knows that Yoko Ono's full of shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and call my man Karl-Heinz Stockhausen full of shit. That dude was a genius.
Sure. I mean, because there is this one recent, like, modern art lady or whatever. I don't know if you heard about it, but she basically had this room with, like, a whole bunch of stuff hanging from the ceiling. and like she herself was like a part of the exhibit, and like one of the things in the room had like a loaded gun. And everyone in there was allowed to do anything to her. They could like grab her, rape her, or whatever. But like
no one wanted to.
Well, one guy did pick up the gun, and the lady's handlers like stopped the guy from shooting her, and she goes like, "How dare you stop
my art?
Yeah. So I mean, at what level is it like? Just kind of nonsensical avant-garde for the sake of, or is it like actually art, you know?
I think that's actually art, because that person was in love enough with what they were doing that they didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
If they died, because they thought that was the statement that they needed to make. I think that is art. I think if you're making the statement that you want to make, it's art. You know what I mean? Man, something that's related to, like, you know, visual art and music in the artistic world is like fashion. There's a lot of like, I'm really, really into fashion. I don't dress like it half the time because, like, you know, I like to be comfortable.
Sure.
Sort of look nice.
And most fashion is not comfortable.
Yeah. And, but they're like some avant-garde shit that you just sit there and go, what the fuck are you wearing?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, runway stuff isn't stuff that you're going to see people walking around. And that's not the point of runway fashion. The point of runway fashion is
it's for the sake of.
Yeah, it's just for the sake of, just like fucking putting a toilet in an art exhibit. Like, that's the point.
Yeah.
They're just trying to be out there as possible. They're not going to sell that shit. But there's some shit that they be selling, like Rick Owens stuff. Like, I don't know what the fuck that dude's on. The shit you see people wearing full Rick, and
What is it?
It's like oversized clown shoes. They're not actually clown shoes, but they're like black and white, and they're really big, and like they cost like $1,000 each for no reason, and they look ridiculous. The clothes like all have like drop crotches that like come down to your knees.
Sure.
And they're all pitch black, and I mean they look. It's something you'd have to see for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's just an example of like really weird avant-garde fashion.
Yeah, and I mean,
and I think that's not for the sake of. I think that's like literally what those people think of.
Like wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they think that shit's awesome.
Because I kind of had that with, I was with my girlfriend at Victoria's Secret one time, and they had like this, like, before the registers, like you're waiting in line or whatever, and they had just this giant screen showing like their runway fashion.
Yeah.
And it's
There's
like
nothing like
these girls in like, you know, lingerie, but they're wearing like giant feathery wings and stuff.
Wings and shit. Like,
and I'm just like, but
it's not
you can't wear this and
you can't buy it
in the bed. Like, it's like, oh hey baby, I got a surprise for you, but let me put on my wings first. Like, no one's gonna.
It's certainly something. I know what you're talking about.
But like, even going back to art, like, people hate Shia LaBeouf.
Dude, I think he's an icon.
Right?
And I mean, like, people like get really mad because they think that everything he does is a fucking stunt. Like, recently he faked his marriage with his girlfriend in Vegas. Like, they streamed it on TMZ and everything, and then Nevada was like, there's no marriage license for him. That was a sham. Like, he just streamed it random. Like, Shia LaBeouf's fucking insane, but I think he's an icon.
I think it's excellent too, but most people would disagree just because they're like,
yeah,
it's stupid.
They don't think outside the box. Like, Shia, everything Shia does, I'm pretty sure, is to piss everyone off.
Well, yeah.
That's awesome to me.
Yeah. I mean, showing up on, like, the red carpet wearing a
bag that says I'm
famous. Yes. I think that's excellent.
Yeah, I do too.
And I mean, there's a level of, like, method acting that is also, on one hand, respected, and then on another hand, like, deeply discouraged.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, so, like, Jared Leto is famous lately.
For sucking.
I actually really like Jared Leto.
I never watched Suicide Squad or listened to whatever fucking band he's from.
Yeah, but I mean, he's one of those people that are, like, so good that I hate. Like, like so much talent that I'm like, why are you so fucking like? Stop being awesome, you know.
Really? You're the first person I've ever heard say about him.
About Jared Leto?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's other people that are that way. Like Joseph Gordon-Levitt is excellent.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
There you go. Now you're talking.
Yeah. Like, I love him, but like, fuck him for being so awesome, you know? Yeah. But Jared Leto, like, his vocal range is impressive, and I really appreciate that as a singer. But also just like, I don't know, he moved to LA like on a whim because he wanted to make music. And then he got like some acting jobs and just like, oh, I guess I'll act, and like started acting, and he's gorgeous, obviously. Like, I'm not gay or anything, but that is a gorgeous man, and you're blind if you don't see it.
A$AP Rocky is gorgeous.
And so for a guy to just kind of waltz into Hollywood and go, I'll be in movies.
I don't know if he waltzed.
No, but like he showed up with nothing, like with no money.
Yeah, but he also
and
was
now
like, please, everyone, please hire me. You know?
Sure.
It's not like he just waltzed in and he's like, all right, hire me. Like he did have to, you know, grovel and make a name for himself. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, like, so I mean, but going back to like method acting, like there's method acting that's abrasive, like being the Joker and mailing people dead birds or something, but at the same time, I mean, Heath Ledger did the same thing, and people still love what he did.
Well, fucking, he ended up doing it and then dying because of it.
Well, he was overprescribed, but that's...
I don't think playing the Joker helped that in any way.
No, but the actual cause is that he was overprescribed. That's the doctor's fault.
Yeah.
But I mean, people still like respect the hell out of Heath Ledger. One, because he died, but two, like, because it was a brilliant performance.
Yeah, it was the best Joker performance for that.
Yeah, and if you look at like Edward Norton, who is on all accounts an asshole, like
Christian Bale is probably the best example for what you're going for.
I mean, but it's still excellent performances. And I think this is something that I talked about with the other Chase Reeser, on the podcast, is that, like, at what level does being a sociopath or a narcissist, like, create good art?
All my heroes are crazy.
Yeah.
That's how I put it. I feel like true geniuses in the world of art they all have something wrong with them. There's no normal person. I don't feel like someone who's normal has the drive to go as far as people who are true artists do. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it.
Because
I can't think of a single one of my musical heroes that isn't an asshole or crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, you wouldn't have My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy if Kanye wasn't an asshole.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you would have something a little bit less, you know, Runaway would be 3 minutes shorter.
Yeah, that song, man, that's a fucking modern classic.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
A song that, honestly, that's a song colleges will be analyzing in the future.
Sure. I think that's a song colleges are analyzing right now.
The students, but I'm telling you, the students become the teachers.
Yeah. But I mean, still, you wouldn't have that level of genius without
without being something wrong with them. Fucking all of Pink Floyd, except for the drummer, are assholes, I'm fairly sure.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see, Syd Barrett was a schizophrenic. And Roger Waters and David Gilmour are raging assholes. So the three main people of the band, you know.
But I mean,
Miles Davis was a terrible person.
Is it okay to sacrifice being a good person for making good stuff?
I don't think that you should go out of your way to try to be.
No.
I don't think you should go out of your way to be like crazy or mean to try and make art. I think that shit is just how people, like the people who make that art are. That's just how they naturally are. You know, nobody's going out of their way to act like that.
Yeah.
Kanye's just, he's fucking Kanye.
But I mean, he had to reach that level of fame before he was able to be that much of a jerk anyways. Like, I mean, fame creates narcissism, obviously.
True.
But I mean, the narcissism also creates great art.
Yeah.
And I mean, joking about being a sociopath, like, I think it's okay. Like, I'm not a sociopath. I do care about people, but if you,
I'm pretty bad about
if you are, you know, saying that you are a sociopath, another one of my best friends, I say that he is a sociopath too, and like, it's fine. Like, it's not.
I mean, like, you can survive in society and just act normal.
Sure.
I mean, I don't think that, because, you know, psychopathy and sociopathy is just they're chronic extreme forms of antisocial disorder.
Sure.
To me, a sociopath is someone who knows the difference between right and wrong, for the most part, doesn't care depending how,
Yeah.
for the most part, and that's saying depending on how bad they have it. Like a full-blown sociopath does not feel anything, period. I would say I'm like 85%, 80 to 85%. I'm not like full-blown, but I say I'm enough that I can call myself one.
Yeah.
Psychopathy is like...
Being willing to act upon.
No. Psychopathy is like not knowing the difference.
Mm.
They don't know. It's like someone who doesn't know what they're doing is wrong. You know what I mean? Like, they don't understand that saying something like way out of line or killing someone, you know, extreme, they don't understand that it's wrong. Whereas a sociopath gets it, they just don't, it doesn't affect them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, I think either way, either one can function. I think a psychopath is probably more rare and probably
psychopaths should probably be
harder to
monitored
function.
or in some
yeah,
way.
probably harder to function in real life than someone who's just indifferent about how they impact things.
Sure.
I don't know.
And I think to some extent it's good to have sociopaths around, like, because
What's that?
Well, bear with me, like, because it's good to have someone tell you the truth without bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
so I mean, you know, there's the whole like, oh, does this dress make my butt look fat? It's like, yeah, wear something else. Like, well, yes, I said something that made you feel bad for a second, but the thing that you were looking for was make your butt not look fat is now being solved by me telling you that it does, and so wear something else.
Yeah,
like,
you know, people should be able to. There should be.
You're
people
solving
around.
problems.
I won't give people bullshit.
And while I care enough about people to try not to hurt their feelings most of the time, there is a part of me that just wants to solve the problem regardless.
I mean, I feel like telling everyone, if everyone told the truth all the time, we'd probably be a lot better off.
Exactly.
Even if it hurt everyone, you end up being better off in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, have you read Watchmen?
No. It looks cool, though. Better than the movie, I'm sure.
I'm still reading the comic book, thanks to Jimmy. He lent it to me. Jimmy Jackson, another drummer. Okay. But Dr. Manhattan, he's like, he basically is a god.
Yeah.
And
It's blue.
yeah, and he doesn't necessarily see forwards and backwards in time, but he's sort of always experiencing all of time all the time.
That pissed me off.
And so, like, at one point, his girlfriend was like, oh, why are you staring at that young girl? Is it because I'm getting old? And, like, to himself, he's like, yeah, you're getting, like, he doesn't say it out loud, but he's like, yeah, you're visibly older every day. And it's the truth. Like, you may not like it, but it's the truth. And so he's like, yeah, I'm like less attracted to you because of that. And, you know, like another time he said like, oh yes, I'll always love you. And even right then he knew that was a lie, but he just, you know, it's necessary to say these things. And so that's sort of the level of, like...
Honestly, if you come down to it, every single decision you have to make is case by case. I
Sure.
don't think there's a mathematical right for everything.
I think there is, though. Even though we don't know it. I try really hard to decipher objective morality. Because there is some way to explain it objectively that sort of solves that moral dilemma.
Yeah.
And while it is case by case, obviously, there's still an objective right answer.
I guess when I said that, I meant like there's no guide. There's no like, oh, here's a precedent to a similar situation. I'm just going to do this. I think that's what I meant when I said that.
Yeah, well, because the universe is infinitely complex.
Sure. And all music has been done before.
I mean, no. Yes and no, but that I agree with Kant, and I look into philosophy a whole lot, and you know who Kant is?
Nope.
Kant sort of shook up philosophy by saying, by arriving upon the categorical imperative, which is basically like moral laws can only become moral laws if they can be applied universally. And so I always use the example of lying to sort of run through that test of, can this be a moral law? And lying can't be a moral law because
it's different for every time.
No, because if everyone follows lying as a moral law, then there's no such thing as truth anymore, and the definition of lying in and of itself is destroyed. It's an actual contradiction.
Yeah.
So lying can't be a moral law, and so morally you shouldn't do it.
How do you feel about American society, or maybe worldwide society at this point, but we've come to a point in 2016 that many words have lost their meaning and power because of how carelessly people toss them around. This varies from racial slur to political ideologies and whatnot, you know what I mean? How do you feel about that?
I mean, war is the stupidest thing that's ever been made, next to money, but, and, you know, call me a communist or whatever, but, like, I'm not. That war is, like, a senseless destruction and use of resources that achieves something that has little value in the end, especially given the amount of resources that were used to make it possible in the first place. And so, I mean, specifically with the military-industrial complex, like, it just makes no sense. Like, there's no point. It's not driving humanity forward. It's not helping anyone. It's literally to kill people.
I mean, what you may be saying is true, but it's unavoidable. There's no way you can solve war. It's always going to happen. That's human nature.
But that's not true.
Is it?
No, because looking at...
always fought?
What?
How come we've always fought and we always will?
Because possessions. I have a whole spiel on this, Chase. You're ready for it. Okay, let's go. So through all of recorded history, we have fought. but humans have spent a much longer time before history ever was written.
They're still probably fucking killing each other.
Not really. While we are genetically equidistant from chimps as we are from bonobos, people always compare us to chimps who are violent and warmongering and stuff like that.
I feel like almost all sentient animals fight. It's
Bonobos solve everything with sex. They don't fight, they just have sex. It's excellent.
That's not a good solution either.
Is it not?
If everyone was just fucking lazy and fucking all the time. That's a hippie.
There wouldn't be conflict.
The Kent State shooting would have never happened. Everyone was smoking weed and fucking in the 70s.
There you go. And so, while we are similar to chimps in some ways, we are also very similar to bonobos in the fact that, I know this is like, I'm a little far off from the point right now, but I'm getting somewhere. In the fact that, like, humans are also very sexual beings, but also very tribal beings.
Yeah.
In the sense that we want to take care of the tribe. Humans aren't, like, inherently selfish. We need each other. Whenever you don't touch a baby, it dies. Whenever you put someone in solitary confinement, they go insane. Their brain literally, like,
they stop functioning.
Deteriorates. So, I mean, that doesn't just come from nothing. Humans actually care about one another.
It's pretty selfish, though.
The
need for other people, that's kind of selfish to me.
No, it's literally the least selfish thing there is. Like,
the need for other people. Any need is selfish.
Sure. But I mean, you could treat it that way, or you can just acknowledge that everyone has a mutual need for each other.
I don't. For people.
And that's fine, because your brain functions differently than most people.
That's true.
But I mean, in general, functional brains require other people to continue functioning.
Yeah. I feel like when I get too many people, I stop functioning.
And so, to that extent, war didn't happen whenever resources were abundant and we were just hunter-gatherers. Like, there's no reason to fight another dude if you can just reach over into the bush and grab a berry or something. Like, what's the point? You know?
Okay, I get your point on where it evolved from, and I understand what you're saying. If
so
resources were abundant,
it's not...
But we don't have a choice anymore.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying... Again. But my initial point is that it's not a part of human nature.
Okay, I get what you're saying. But a counter-argument to something that you might believe in, evolution, I feel like people have evolved for that to be nature.
No, I just said people need each other. We evolved that way because two people working is...
People need alike. They need something like them. But there's always the idea of people being different than you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have so many angry Bible-thumping Southerners that want to bomb the Middle East.
Well, no, we have a genetic predisposition to seek out novelty sexually, because because if the tribes had become so interbred, they would have just all become retarded and died.
But
we sexually embrace novelty.
We didn't have ideas like nationalism and race back then. We didn't have ideas like that, and that's the thing.
Yeah, and those are stupid.
Yeah, they are, but it's unavoidable at this point. It's going to be a long time before everyone's brown. You know what I mean?
Sure. But I'm making the point that it's not a part of human nature. And the whole argument of basing that on human nature is...
I guess I get what you mean, but you haven't... I understand where you're coming from, but you haven't convinced me that we haven't adopted that into our nature, I guess.
Because...
But I'm pretty close.
Civilized society has been around for a very short time, and we still haven't adapted to it.
I don't know. We haven't killed a president like they did in the Julius Caesar play yet. That's cool as shit. A2 Obama. All right, Secret Service, please don't come after me. I'm just fucking talking like good literature.
But I mean, That's what I'm saying. Like, humans have been around for, like, you know how long it took for us to develop, like, legs? Sure, that's one. Like, probably it took forever. Legs, yeah. Like, you know how long it took for us to develop brains? Like, and the behaviors that we have adapted to from, like, it comes from natural selection. Natural selection is, like, something lives. If it dies, it's not selected. Something lives. And so the selection process takes a very long time out of random selection. It's random. And those that survive continue to breed. Everything that we are right now, our brains being as smart as they are, is from random selection. Up until society, where the selection wasn't so random anymore, because
people had a choice.
Well, now we have a choice to not die, because even though we're not good at something.
Yeah, people have the choice to not breed.
Mm-hmm.
People have the choice to do anything now.
And so
free will is pretty cool, isn't it?
But even still, civilization has been around for a very short amount of time regarding natural selection.
Yeah.
We haven't adapted to society yet. Humanity is still the hunter-gatherer from millions of years ago.
I'm sure we'll fucking nuke ourselves into oblivion before we do.
But the thing is that civilization is sort of part of the reason that civilization is destroying itself. Like, how come civilization provides all of the greatest things that we have and everyone's so fucking unhappy all the time?
That's where the nihilism comes in.
Because civilization isn't fitting our needs as human beings, as bonobos. It's fitting our needs as human beings trying to survive in a world with money and possessions. And so it sucks.
It does suck, and there's nothing we can do about it.
There's a lot we can do about it. We can blow it all up.
That's one thing. And even then, we don't have the power to do that. The fucking bigwig bureaucrats with the nuke codes have that power.
Yeah. But I mean, they're just one dude.
We have free will.
You listen to Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. One dude doesn't have the power to do shit.
Yeah.
If you wake up a million, maybe.
Exactly. And that's the point.
Maybe.
That's the point of Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, I know. That's why I say we need another band like that.
Okay.
Someone who will wake everyone up.
Then stop having the point that it's never going to happen. Having that, oh man, it's never going to happen, is ensuring that it won't.
Until someone fucking steps up and does it, I'll keep saying it. I want somebody to prove me wrong. You know?
Okay. Or just want it to happen in the first place.
I don't care what happens. To quote my father, that's your mess. I'm just going to watch.
But it's also yours. You have to live in the same world I do, man.
Doesn't have to care.
Yeah, but it'll suck.
It sucks already.
Yeah, but you don't want it to suck.
There's nothing I can do about it, though.
There's a lot you can do about it. You can play music and enjoy your life.
Matter, though. That's different. There's a difference between enjoying your life and affecting the world.
Well, we can affect the world in a way that everyone can enjoy their lives.
I wish. I can't. If I could do it, I can't do it yet. I'm only 19. I live in Oklahoma. Who the fuck's listening to me?
Well, you just said, like, one person alone can't, but a lot of people together can.
Maybe. That's
sort of the point of this thing.
Yeah,
that I'm trying to reach out to people and have that same united goal of, we want the world to be a better place, don't we?
I guess.
We want it to suck less.
That'd be nice.
Sucking sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it'd be nice.
So let's try to reduce it.
To me, I feel like it's just it's a wasted effort. There's nothing we can do. We don't have the money. We don't have the power.
Not you and I, but music is power to reach out to people, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I don't see the fucking I don't see the Koch brothers listening to Rage Against the Machine.
They're not going to, because they're the ones winning.
Yeah, that's my point.
Chase.
Yeah.
You understand my point?
Yes, I understand your point. What makes you think I don't? Just because I have a indifferent feel about the world, I mean, I don't understand what you're saying.
Yeah. But it's still a possibility.
It's a possibility, but I feel like it's very unlikely.
Yeah.
It's just me.
Of course it's very unlikely. Doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I will.
But you're acting against your own interest.
I have no interests. You're going on about bonobos.
You want to play music and enjoy yourself. That's your interest.
I guess. I don't see how fucking changing tax cuts is going to affect whether I can
No,
play
fuck taxes. Fuck government. Fuck all of it.
Yeah, we should just be ANCAP.
No, ANCAP is stupid too. People kill each other.
It's just Fallout. Woo, I love ANCAP memes. Yeah, people would just fucking kill each other.
Well, yeah, but we want to make sure that people don't do that.
You have to realize who you're talking to here. How different
No, I know.
I've set myself apart from your average person.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're fucking talking about bonobos and shit. Like I must be more related to chimps because like I have no sexual drive whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like not attracted to people.
No, you're just a sociopath. That's fine.
Exactly.
Like you're just an anomaly in human nature.
I love it.
That's fine.
I'm very lucky.
Lots of people are not. That's what statistics are. I mean, you're not going to be 100% like everyone else. Everyone's different.
Boy, I'd be fucking. You know how unsatisfied in life I'd be if I was like everyone else. Like,
no,
like shit sucks, but at least I'm not listening to fucking the radio. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean that's with your frame of mind right now.
Yeah, I'll probably change.
Your frame of mind right now is saying, "Oh, that me wouldn't like it," but that you probably would.
What?
This is excellent, Chase.
You've never had something go like this before?
A couple times. It's fine. But I'm glad because it's cool to have your perspective.
I've never seen that screen cap before. Jesus Christ, that's bad.
Memes. Okay, I feel like we've reached the wall on furthering this conversation, have we not?
Do I get to give my second plug? This is the second podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
Wait. Before that, I have one more question. Instead of the what advice do you have for people? If there's something that you're listening to or watching or reading that you want other people to look at, what do you got?
All right, here we go. Album-wise, I want everybody to go check out. How about The Modern Dance by Para Ubu? It's an American band. They're post-punk, and they have this weird synthesizer that's really noisy. And I mean, they're fucking amazing. They're very underappreciated. A lot of people can't get into vocals, but they're awesome. Go watch Mobile Suit Gundam and Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam because those are my two favorite mecha shows. I'm watching Macross right now. And go read JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Gravity's Rainbow.
Nice.
Yeah. This has been Chase Hampton.
Yeah. Where can we find your shit?
Twitter, SoundCloud. My Twitter and SoundCloud are both TheChampton, The Champton.
Yeah, and I'm excited to hear what sort of, whether it be avant-garde.
I'm gonna have to
art
definitely
or,
select what tracks you hear. I'm gonna have to delete a bunch of shit I have on my SoundCloud. 'Cause
I don't mind.
some of it's terrible. Like it's just like sound experiments that aren't good at all.
I mean, I have a couple of those on mine too, and that's up to the people who want to listen to it. I'm not gonna stop you. Cool. And I'm Santiago Ramones. You can find all the stuff that I do at www.santiagoramones.com, where you can find a link to my SoundCloud and music that I make, as well as this podcast. And every podcast with my three things, which are love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong. Thanks for listening. Say bye, Chase.
I don't remember how to say it in German.
Oh, okay, well.
Bye.
Bye.